Well, good evening, folks. Hope you're well. Sunday. Uh, well, the topic for this evening's relatively brief video. Um, well, it's a bit of an eclectic mix. We'll leave it at that. In my life, so far, I have never been one to make my mind up and that's final. Because I think that I try to run my life a bit like the Chinese philosophy that if a tree refuses to bend in the wind and stays rock solid, it'll blow over. It's always good to flex and, now this flexing can be, I agree with it, I don't, I'm not sure, I change my mind. And our ability to change our mind is, I think, depending. Really, some people just won't change their mind. My mind is made up. Nothing you will say and do to me will make me change my mind. And yes, I've met a few of these. And I just think, no, there's going to be something in their life that will change their mindset. More often than not, it's a tragedy or a personal tragedy or a shock to the system. And, people are very brave to say, I will never change my mind. That is my opinion. I'm sticking to it. Nothing, hell or high water, that is. And then they change their minds. But they do it in such a sly way. You catch them sometimes. You go, I thought you weren't going to buy a Japanese car. 5 years ago, I suppose you hate the nips. You can't stand Jap cars. You're always going to buy British, British. Well, tell me about the British cars. It's a bit like these people who thought originally that electric cars wouldn't catch on, and yet they hanker after a Tesla. And when you catch them driving a Tesla, you say, oh, now I did catch a friend of mine driving a Tesla the other week, actually. Very nice Tesla as well, one of the more expensive models. And yeah, super nice. But I said, after all you've said and done and made disparaging remarks about electric cars, not even a hybrid, folks, this is a pure electric, You bloody hypocrite, after all you've said, and you were ripping them apart. And what do you mean the technology got to such an extent I couldn't ignore it, so advanced, it's yada, yada, yada. And what was the primary trigger? What really was the catalyst to make you change your mind and throw all your previous beliefs in the bin? Because this guy was out, so adamant that he would never buy an electric car. Didn't think they'd catch on a few years back, and wow, now look at him. He even showed me on his mobile phone, even when the car was in his garage, that he could check the battery level of his car that was parked in the garage. Look, I can see how much power is in my car available if I want to take a trip on my app. Well, whoopee-doo. I can do that when I get home. I turn the knob and I look at my fuel gauge. Simples. But what a pathetic thing. What a pathetic, stupid thing to do. Anyway, I said to him, why did you change your mind? He says, well, to be honest, being an environmentalist, it just seems the right thing to do. Sooner or later, oil and petrol won't run out in your lifetime, sunshine. They will not. They're abiotic. We will never, 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 never run out of oil on this world. Never, never, never. Because the earth, the flat plane that we live on, produces its oil faster than we humans can consume it. The scarcity factor has been, well, it's all an illusion by the big oil giants to put the price up. That's all. If you only knew how prolific oil is, which is not a fossil fuel. I've said this before. Oil is not a fossil fuel. But before I digress, let me concentrate on my friend's argument for going Tesla. He said it's more economical and environmentally friendly. Oh, really? How do you say? How do you mean? Well, it makes sense, doesn't it? It doesn't pollute. Why? Because there's not a combustion engine and it doesn't fill the air with carbon monoxide and pollute our atmosphere. And, the ozone layer, this big, pseudo-science ozone layer, and the CO2, global warming. We're actually going through a global cooling period, folks, truth be known. Our world is getting cooler, not warmer. But they had to, rather than admit they've been waffling, they had to change it to climate change now. Because our climate change means that we're getting colder. It's a natural cycle of our world. So I said to him, well, explain to me this, that your car's running on batteries, a nice bunch of batteries. Okay, so who produces the batteries? Factories. And where do they get produced? All over the different world, different countries, yada, yada, yada. Okay, and what do they use, you see, to produce the batteries? Electricity. They use resources. Yes. Look, folks, there's nothing for nothing. Pay now or pay later, but you will pay, won't you? There's nothing. You see, there is nothing for nothing. This world is finely balanced. This world that we live upon doesn't get any heavier or lighter. It's not a lot when you consider, because nothing is created nor destroyed. It just simply changes form, doesn't it? Okay. So really the weight of the world, if you could weigh it, doesn't change much. So we do pay now or pay later, but we all pay with the pollution factor because, okay, I pollute by driving my car around and the carbon monoxide comes out the back, the petrol's consumed, yada, yada, yada. But he pays as well, and he pollutes because the people that make his battery for his car wouldn't be so prolific making batteries, taking up valuable world resources to put into his car for him to drive to say it's environmentally friendly. Well, the production of the batteries ain't exactly environmentally friendly, are they? But people don't see it like that. It's a battery's operated, isn't it? It doesn't pollute. Well, it does, of course it does. It just pollutes in a different way. That's all. Whether I stick my finger in your eye or punch you in the eye, the chances are I'm going to damage your eye. Still damage your eye whether I poked you or punched you or stuck a stick in your eye. The end result's the same. In one way or another, we will pay. That's all. It's just in a different way. So it is a complete false economy. Not only that, Teslas are horrendously expensive for what they are. And the novelty, quite frankly, soon wears off. You're constantly worrying. My brother drives a Tesla also. And he's constantly worried about battery. Because, when they first he was an early adopter of electric cars, and he's had his misfortunes with them. They do have a lot of teething problems, and there's nothing worse than being caught, without a charger being made available. You see, he's going to get caught one day when the garage he pops into doesn't have a charger and he's on his last amp, his last volt. Can't wait. What's he going to do? Carry a spare battery in his boot, like a can of oil, like we do with a can of petrol. Does make me laugh. These people are in complete denial. But there's nothing wrong with changing your mind. It shows a level of maturity. I stand corrected is one of the most grown-up sayings we can say, admitting our own little, Achilles' heels on occasions, but how many people do you know will never admit they're wrong? Never, never. I know quite a few people like that. I've been wrong once this week, and that was when I thought I was wrong. That is the mantra of these people. They don't think they're ever going to be wrong. Though my word is final until I decide to change my word. And as a kid, it's nothing more frustrating, is there, when your parents are hypocrites? They say one thing and do another. They tell the children don't smoke, although they're puffing away like a steam train. Life is just such, well, sometimes such sweet sorrow. And it's a bag of laughs most of the time. I have to smile to myself. Not sure about whether you do or not, when you see these celebrities, these wonderful words. These for the most part, talentless pricks, overpaid pricks on TV, making a fool of themselves and thinking that because they get an incredible amount of money for doing sweet FA and they're talentless, yet some mug out there is paying them an absolute fortune to be a film star. When, well, to be brutally honest, they're not that good actors. And even if they are great actors, I always thought that Hollywood actors and co are massively overpaid for what they do. Do you know here's the irony. They would do it if they had no choice for an income, because if they weren't actors, what would they be? That's the question. Do they have any more skill sets? Hey, you see, if you've got 50 people in a room and they can all act, it all boils down to looks. But so many have got the looks, but they're like, well, the lights are on, but nobody's in. Do you know what I mean? These dumb bimbos, or these handsome hunks that haven't got a brain cell, for the ladies. And they seem to think that that gives them a license to look down on everybody else who are so much more intelligent, and to walk on a red carpet, for Christ's sake. A red carpet. Yes. That's what communists do. They walk on red carpets, folks. It's the blood of the people that are sacrificed and allowed the leaders, and the royals, of course, do the same. It's the nation's blood that's been spilt in support of these bastards. I see no reason to have red carpets for Hollywood or any other actors. It's just turned it into a nonsense, hasn't it, this red carpet shit. Even presidents are having red carpets. Politicians have got red carpets now. It's a joke. But what else would these people do? You can't be an actor. You might be beautiful, but you can't act. But, okay, so your beauty is what? Okay, so you're beautiful. What other talent have you got? You see, people think because they're handsome or they're beautiful that that's their license to look down their nose at everybody else who isn't quite as, well, pretty as them or handsome as them, to look down. And they should be paid a lot more than those people who aren't pretty. I've seen some ugly actors and actresses, and they are so skilled. They are absolutely fantastic. Yet the ones who get paid an absolute fortune, these talentless jerks, for the most part, pouring out of Hollywood, I see them misbehaving. I see them with all sorts of problems, but as much as they get paid, eventually they all end up as failures, don't they? They all end up bitter and twisted, like Robert De Niro and co. You just have to look at the falling stars, not the rising stars. Their lights don't burn very brightly for very long, do they? And yet we pay them an absolute fortune, and what do? They blow it, or they probably snort it straight up their nose. They all see it's not the money, you see. This is the problem, that's not the money. And it begs the question then, when you have a guy like Tom Cruise, arguing, don't you, in court, saying, you know, I want that truth. You can't handle the truth. Well, half the Hollywood stars can't handle the money. And they would argue that it's not all about the money. It's not all about the money, but they're the first ones to demand a massive, massive pay rise for doing a series 2 or another film up. But if it's not about the money, do it for nothing. Do it for charity. Give the money away to charity of your choosing. No, they won't. It's all about this ego thing, isn't it? You know, anybody would think their crap doesn't smell the way they go on about it. And why, oh why, do we treat these people with such reverence and such respect in it? And this is what's wrong. These celebrities. The celebrity culture gets right up my nose, to be honest with you. I don't hero worship anyone. If the Queenie came up to me, do you think I'd be bowing and no? Not really. Not interested. I wouldn't kneel in front of that Saxon Coburg Goethe Deutscher. No, thank you. She has absolutely no right to be on the throne of Great Britain. None at all. Should have been Mary Queen of Scots, quite frankly. Never mind an imposter from Germany. Bloodline. Saxon Coburg Goethers. Anyway, that's soon to be history, I'm sure. I think our royal family is after a big change. But it's amazing how bullshit baffles brains, isn't it? This seems to be the modus operandi now in our society, that the more letters you have after your name, the more important you think you are, or you expect people to think you are, and you pass yourself off as such a fraud. I've met loads and loads and loads of frauds who, I mean, let's look at this. Somebody who is a salesman, or this woman thing, saleswoman, salesperson, or salesman. Let's just call him a salesman or her a salesperson, if you like. But now you've got this word consultant stuck on the end. Don't give them a pay rise. Change their job title to something that sounds important, at least save the company money, but make them feel important. It's no longer a salary issue then, is it? Don't give them a pay rise, give them an office and let them put their silly little name on the door. You see? And people, we fall for this shit all the time. And the word consultant, or the other buzzwords, specialist. Yes. I mean, you know, you're a recruitment, you place people in jobs, you job match. You look at a job spec and you've got the people and their CVs, you put them together. Well, that's recruitment, isn't it? That's what it is. So you're a recruitment agent. I'm not an agent, I'm a recruitment consultant. But now they've specialised it now, recruitment consultant, and then they have a bracket specialist, you know, or recruitment specialist. And it's this nonsense. Don't give them the job, don't give them the money, give them the title. And it's the same in the medical world. You know, I come across not literally, I hasten to add, I came across a woman the other day and I said, "Are you a doctor?" She goes, "I'm a doctor's assistant." I said, "Oh, you're a nurse." Now the NHS have started to take these people on. These are the ones probably who haven't quite made it. Okay? They haven't. They're not doctors. Doctors' assistants. Now, where do they get off? Well, you know, before you get discharged in a hospital now, you're either going to be seen by a doctor, the consultant normally, or his senior reg or registrar. And now, if they're busy, because they're very busy and very important, they'll send around this bird in a white jacket who's passing herself off as a doctor and say, "Oh, what do? Are you one of the consultants?" "No, I'm a doctor's assistant." Why don't they put brackets, nearly a doctor, but didn't quite make it? And this is the way the NHS now is going, because it's getting people on the cheap. who were nearly good enough to be doctors but didn't quite make it. Am I being too hard? No. If you have a child and you want the best of the best for your child or wife or husband or member of your family, you don't want someone who didn't quite make it. But the administration and the hassle and it's just like, well, why don't you start again and have another crack at it and become a doctor? But they don't, they settle. And these people are pouring in now into the NHS, folks. They truly are. Keep an eye out from doctors' assistants and ask to see their credentials and ask them how they think they're qualified to see if you're fit and healthy. And we are going down the route now. I'm sure that there won't be general practitioners soon as well. I think that they will be staffed with people who are nurses or doctor's assistants that know the BNF, the British National Formulary book, backwards. They know all the drugs and what they do, and they know all the ailments that humans suffer from, and they can match, and they can dish out prescription after prescription after prescription. Oh, I've got this rash. Where is it? Under ear. Okay, let's have a look. Yeah, sweat rash. Or you've got an infection. It's very itchy. Okay, let's have a look. We'll just take a little swab. Yeah, chances are it's thrush for the ladies, if you like. We'll send it off to the lab. In the meantime, here's some Canesten cream. Yeah, twice a day, morning and night. Okay, do it for a week, your thrush will go. I don't have to be a doctor to say that, folks. Anyone with the slightest 5 minutes looking through the BNF can go to look at Canesten cream. Candida albicans, there's a bacteria that it'll kill, and that's thrush. Have I studied for years in medical school for that crap? No. You don't need to. You see, sooner or later, you'll go into a GP surgery and it'll ask you a set of questions on a touchscreen. And you press a button and it'll do the diagnosis in a heartbeat, excuse the pun, and it'll kick out a prescription or an advice sheet and then tell you to naff off. That's the way we're going. It truly will be that way. You'll be talking to robots. They will get rid of them, GPs, eventually, because they're nothing more, quite frankly, than prescription issuers. And I'm not being horrible. I feel sorry for GPs. They work very hard, and yet they're overqualified for what they do 90% of the time. They'll be replaced, like lots of other people. There won't be, in the future, airline captains and there won't be pilots on aircraft. There really won't be. We'll get on. The doors will shut automatically. We may have the stewardesses to serve the drinks and things like that. But it'll all be done by a touch of a button. And that's the way we're going. You don't need to have a captain and his sidekick in the front. Not really. Not with the way the automation is going. We accept it, folks, don't we? Human beings will slowly be replaced by robots or electronics, intelligent electronics. And people will trust it. We are slowly adjusting it. It'll be a bit strange getting on an aeroplane with no captain and no co-pilot. But you don't know what's at the front driving the plane, do you? Do you really give a shit? Well, look at drones. That's what airliners will eventually become. Drones. Instead of shipping bombs to other countries, it'll be shipping people to other countries, that's all. So we are on a fast-moving thing, and our perspectives have to change. We can't be so belligerent. We won't change our minds. We are forced to change our minds. And that's what's happening in our society. It's being thrust upon us. We can't run away. We can't escape. We just have to adjust. You know, this is what they say in the military, isn't it? Improvise. Yeah, make adjustments and improvise. If you haven't got it, improvise. And life is really one big compromise coming up. But it's really strange how money still controls this world. Without money, it's such a paralysis not to have any money, isn't it? Or get low. It controls your every waking thought, to be honest. There isn't a day goes by in this world, and you tell me if this is true to you. There isn't a day or goes by in your calendar every month that you don't think about money or the lack of it, or how you're going to get some more, or the debt and how you're going to pay it. The irony about money, of course, is that very few problems in life that a bag full of money won't sort out. That's very true. Unless it's health related. Certain health conditions won't respond to any money, no matter what you throw at it. You're going to die, sunshine. You can't. This is what the rich try to do. Have you seen, I watched a video more for entertainment and I was embarrassed. 25 of the top richest billionaires, women, female billionaires. Have you seen the state of these women, what plastic surgery has done to them? And you can see what they've become, these hags that they turn out to be as they get older and older and older, living off billions. They seem suddenly to think they're above the law. They seem they can not only above the law when they get involved in accidents that are covered up and they weren't found guilty. Of course they weren't. If it was you and me, they'd be in prison. Now they can get it. It's funny how money can buy them out of trouble. But I tell you what, talk about putting lipstick on a pig. These women have made a mess of their faces with their plastic surgery. I thought, bloody hard. Look at the state of that. 10 of the richest women in the world. Have you seen the state of them? Money corrupts, absolutely, and also makes them bloody ugly. I don't care. She'd have to be. No amount of money would make me kiss her. No thanks. It's a paper bag job. In fact, if I was going to do anything with her in bed, it'd have to be 2 paper bags in case one paper bag fell off. But, 2-bag job. That's what we used to call it at school. I'm not saying she's ugly, but she's a 2-bag job. But money, it's the root of all evil, isn't it? And those who have more money, it seems to have a better life. But it's not all about the money, because those who've got most money end up with tragic lives. It's a shame, isn't it? My heart's bleeding. But be prepared to change your mind about a few things, folks, because the tree that doesn't flex in the wind will eventually get blown over, as so many people find out to their detriment. And look out for those who are overpaid but with a grand title, or maybe not getting paid and have a grand title. It's such a strange world we're going into, and we've got to be on the lookout for such charlatans that they are. Catch you tomorrow when I'm more wide awake, and probably do a video about the weather. It's as arbitrary as the next thing, isn't it? Take care, folks. Spend your cash wisely, okay? And don't worry too much about your job title. We're all working class.